Okay, so today we're back to triangles. We're going to talk about geometric mean. By the way, it's not getting anything from Santa for being mean. Haha, your teacher's a nerd. All right, so first off, geometric mean, the definition of geometric mean is two positive numbers, A and B. The geometric mean is the positive number x such that this proportion works. Okay? Oops. All right, so we want this proportion to work. All right, so A over x, where x is your geometric mean, and A and B are your two numbers. So for example, in number 1, here are my two numbers. So I'm just going to create an empty proportion. X is the geometric mean, so I'm going to put it in those two places. And then those other two numbers just go in the two remaining spots. So now you have a proportion where you can cross multiply. X times x is x squared. 12 times 3 is 36. Then you take the square root of both sides. So x is 6. So the geometric mean between 12 and 3 is 6. So you do the same thing with 8 and 4. You set up a proportion, you fill in the geometric mean, and then the other two numbers go in the remaining spots. X squared equals 32. Then you take the square root of both sides. Now remember, we spent that day last time reducing. So now I've got the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 32, remember, 1 times 32, 2 times 16. Oh yeah, 16 is in our list. So that means 16 times 2. Take the square root of that side, 2. So you get x equals the square root of 16 times the square root of 2. X is 4 square root of 2. Now, this one is worded a little differently. They didn't just give you two numbers. The geometric mean of two numbers is x, so that is 6. So that means your x is 6. One of your numbers is 9, so the A is 9. What is the other number? Now B is, I don't know. So if you fill in this formula, A over x equals x over B, since our 6 is really our x, so I'm going to replace the x's with 6's. My B, or my 9 is A, so that's a 9 now. And now I'm looking for B. So cross multiply. 9 times B is 6 times 6 is 36. Divide both sides by 9. So you just follow the same formula. So B is 4. So if your geometric mean is 6 and one of the numbers is 9, the other number is 4. So you have the numbers 4, 6, and 9. All right. Now, in a right triangle, the altitude from the right angle, so you have your right angle, so your altitude that starts here and goes straight down, it divides the hypotenuse into two separate pieces. So then you would set up this proportion. So basically your altitude is your geometric mean. So you have side 1, so we'll call this A. Side 2 we'll call B. And the altitude is x. So you get something that looks like this. So you fill in that formula, so you still have your geometric mean, and then the other two sides. So it's the same formula, you just have to figure out which piece goes where. Okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, now, this is called the mountain problem. I'm going to explain it this way, but then I'm going to show you another way, which I think is a little bit easier, but I want to explain it more than one way. So geometric mean is the path down the mountain. Notice there are 3 paths down the mountain. There is this path, there is this path, actually don't call that A, let's call this V, and then there's this path, W. Okay, so I've got 3 different paths, so that means I have 3 different geometric means. Okay, each one of them is created, each one of them is found by its own proportion. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this A, I'm going to call this B, and we're going to call the whole thing C. Okay, so basically you're going to set it up the distance from the lodge. So the distance from the lodge and then your paths are your geometric means. So your geometric mean could be V, it could be X, it could be W. Okay, it just depends. And then the distance from the lodge. So the distance from this one to the lodge, and so on. But I'm going to show you this way because I think this way is much easier. Okay, so our first path, so we've got this one here, which we've already learned. Okay, so if this is my geometric mean, then I pair it with A and B. So my first proportion, if I'm using this as my altitude, if I'm using this geometric mean, then you put your X's there. The other two is your A and your B, which that's what we talked about above. Now, if V is going to be my geometric mean, so if this one is my geometric mean, then it pairs with the A, and it hooks around and pairs with the C. Okay, so now you've got this formula. Now V is your geometric mean, so now V goes in these two places. Now you pair it with the A and the C. So now pair it with the A and the C. And it doesn't matter which two, you can flip-flop these if you want, okay? That is unimportant as long as you get the geometric mean in the right place. And then what if I wanted to use W as my geometric mean? Okay, then I would have a new proportion. Again, put your W, and it pairs with the B, or hooks around and pairs with the C. So you have three different formulas depending on which geometric mean you use. Notice it makes a W, and then it has two hooks. Okay? So let's try some of these problems here. Okay, if this is, all of these are finding the altitude, so these are all the easy ones. Okay, so here's X, it pairs with the 1 and the 3. So if you set up your proportion, since X is the geometric mean, remember there are 3 of them, and then the other two numbers go in the remaining spots. So X times X is X squared. 1 times 3 is 3. We have to take the square root of both sides. So X is the square root of 3. So that would be your exact answer. If they wanted you to round to the nearest tenth, then you would type in the square root of 3 in your calculator to find out that X is 1.7. So depending on what it wants, it may want exact, it may want decimal, so make sure you're reading your directions. All right, on this one, here's your geometric mean. It's going to pair with the 25 and the 20. So you set up your proportion. X is the geometric mean. The other two numbers go in these remaining spots, and like I said, it doesn't matter which one goes where. X squared is 500. Take the square root of both sides. So X is 22.4. Okay. Okay, this one, here is your geometric mean. It pairs with this side and this side, but I don't know this piece. However, I know the whole thing, so I can take 100 and subtract the 64, and it gives me 36. So that piece is 36. So when I set up my proportion, X is the geometric mean. The other two pieces go in the remaining spots. So you get X squared equals 2304. We're going to take the square root of both sides. And since they're asking for tenths, we don't have to simplify. So X is 48. In this case, it is a perfect square. So 1.7, 22.4, and 48. All right. Now I want you to draw your own right triangle and draw the altitude. So draw your own right triangle. Draw your altitude. And then I want you to create your own problem. So you're going to need something here, and something here. I don't care if you put the X here, here, or here, but you're going to figure it, you're going to create your own, and when you come to class, we'll get someone else to solve it. All right, now this time, we're going to find the missing piece if they give us the geometric mean. So this is our geometric mean, and it pairs with this one and this one. So I'm going to create my triangle, or my proportion. My 6 is the geometric mean, so 6 goes in place Remember, your geometric mean gets to go twice. The 9 and the x go in the other two places. Cross multiply. 9x equals 36. Divide both sides by 9. X is 4. So this little piece is 4. Okay, now what happens if they want us to find all the pieces? That's where we have to use all the formulas. So the first one I'm going to do is this one. This geometric mean pairs with the 27 and the 3. So I'm going to go over here, and I know x is my geometric mean, and that geometric mean pairs with the 27 and the 3. So x squared is 81. Cross multiply, x squared is 81. Take the square root of both sides. So x is 9. So I'll find out that this is 9. Okay. Then the next one, if I want to find y, remember it pairs with the 3 and then hooks around and pairs with the whole side. Well, the whole side is 27 plus 3, so the whole side is 30. So it's going to pair with 3 and 30. So when I set up my proportion, this time y is my geometric mean, and it pairs with the 3 and the 30. So cross multiply, y squared equals 90. Take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 90 is 9.5. So y is 9.5. And then to find z, z is my other geometric mean. It pairs with the 27 and hooks around to pair with the 30. So I'm going to go over here. This time z is my geometric mean. It pairs with the 27 and the 30. So I get z squared equals 27 times 30 is 810. Take the square root of both sides. So z is 28.5. So I used all three of those proportions from that front page. And it's all about pairing together. So let's try it again. So here's my x. The x pairs with the 5. Remember the altitude just pairs with the two pieces. So set up your proportion. X is your geometric mean. It pairs with the 5. It pairs with the 8. X squared equals 40. So take the square root of both sides. X is 6.3. Okay. In class, we'll practice a little bit more of doing the simplifying, okay? But for notes, we're going to keep it simple. Okay. Now, if I want to find the y, so if y is my geometric mean, so I'm going to use y as my geometric mean, I need the whole side. So the whole side is 13. So remember the y pairs with the 5 and hooks around to pair with the 13. So you've got a 5 and a 13. So cross multiply, y squared equals 65. Take the square root of both sides. Y is 8.1. And then our last one is the z. So the z is going to pair with the number that's on the same side, 8, and it's going to hook around and pair with the 13. So this time if z is our geometric mean, geometric mean always counts twice. It pairs with the 8 and the 13. Z squared is 8 times 13 is, let's see, 8 times 13, I didn't write that one down, 104. And then you take the square roots both sides. So the square root of 104 is 10.2. So 10.2. All right. Last one. This one is a little bit different. They told me the whole side was 20, but they told me this side was 15. But 20 minus 15 is 5. So that one was really easy to find. X is 5. 20 minus 15 is 5, just in case. All right, so now if I use y as my geometric mean, I'm going to pair it with the 5 and the 15. So y gets counted twice because it's my geometric mean. It pairs with the 5 and the 15. So then I've got y squared, and 5 times 15 is 75. Take the square root of both sides and you get 8.7. So y is 8.7. Okay, and then the last one is our z. So remember, books are deceiving. So z is my geometric mean. So I'm going to write it down twice. It's going to pair with the 15, and then it hooks around and pairs with the 20. So cross multiply. Z squared is 300. Take the square root of both sides. Z is 17.3. All right, again, you're going to create your own right triangle. So this is a right triangle, and you're going to draw the altitude, and then you're going to find everything that's missing. So you need 3 geometric means. You can make them all variables, or you can make 2 variables and a number, but you need there, there, and then you need the whole side. So make it tricky. It's for your neighbor. All right, on the back, if you will, draw a right triangle so that we can do our hook. Okay, so we're going to, well, why isn't this letting me? I want to select. Okay, so that we can see everything. All right. All right, so I'm going to, this is a right angle, maybe. So that's a right angle, and this is the altitude, so it's a right angle. So I'm going to call this X, Y, Z, A, B, and the whole side is C. So I'm going to go through and do my little W with the hooks. So the X pairs with A and B. So X is my geometric mean, and it pairs with the A and the B. So that should be an A. Okay, and then the Y is going to pair with the A and hook around to the C. So my Y pairs with the A and the C. And then I've got my Z, which pairs with the B, and it hooks around to the C. So Z pairs with the B and hooks around to the C. All right. So I hope everybody has a great break and is safe, and I will see you guys in class so we can finish this up.